for retirement, and I have a great answer for you. Matt is going to put a link in the chat for our other webinars, and we will make sure to schedule a retirement process meeting for the Greeley School District. But we have a whole 45-minute meeting dedicated to covering the things you need to take care of to make sure you are able to retire. The forms are really easy. The meeting will take more time than it takes to fill out the forms. But you still want to attend that meeting to make sure that you have everything completed. Geneva said she wants to learn about retiring in May and moving out of state. Let me make sure I make a note of that. That's a great question. Bethany wants to learn about purchasing. We'll talk very briefly about purchasing, Bethany, but we'll make sure we cover it a little bit. Ben wants the free coffee. Ben, you have no idea how much we wish we were in the same room with you to give you that free coffee this year. But hopefully someday this will end, this pandemic will end, and we'll make sure we get that free coffee to you again. Everything else that you guys are typing in are really good questions. So, but most of it looks like it's stuff that we're going to cover in the webinar. But I do appreciate your participation, so this is great. So let me start with a really, really important question. Maria, I love this question. Maria asked, in an economy where retirement is not guaranteed in many industries, is Pera safe for the coming decades? If so, how can you guarantee that? What kinds of funds does Pera invest in? As someone with district contracting experience in prior years, are there any ways I can buy or buy back some of that time? So I love that question. So let me start with, is Pera a safe investment? So you may have seen in the news over the last few years that Pera fell behind our funding goal. The good part about being part of Pera and living in the state of Colorado is that whenever Pera has fallen behind, the state legislature has gotten involved, worked with Pera, and put together a plan to put us on pace to be fully funded. And in 2018, the state of Colorado passed a bill called Senate Bill 200. The nice part about that bill, what makes that bill so unique, is that it puts Pera on pace to be fully funded in 30 years. Pera is on pace to be fully funded in 30 years. Let's talk about that word, fully funded. Fully funded, maybe the easiest way to explain it, because it is a big term, but the easiest way to explain it is if everybody came to Pera and asked for their money tomorrow, would we be able to pay it? And fully funded is an extremely high level, high measurement for the soundness of a pension. How likely do you think it is that tomorrow all of our Pera members will come and ask for all of their money? It's not 0%, but it's not a lot higher than that. So reaching that bar of being fully funded is an extremely high level to measure how sound Pera is. But Pera is on pace to meet that extremely high goal. We're on pace to be fully funded in less than 30 years now. Here's how we did that. Here's how we got going in the right direction. Senate Bill 200 did a couple different things. It increased contributions from members and it increased contributions from employers. The state also is now making a direct contribution to Pera of $225 million. A lot of money. So there's a lot more money going into Pera. The other thing that Senate Bill 200 did was changed very slightly the amount of money leaving Pera. What it did is it decreased the annual increase to retirees. So their annual increase was decreased a little bit. And so there's more money going in and less money going out. And that's how you make a pension healthy. And so those two things have put Pera on pace to be fully funded. Now, Senate Bill 200 was passed in 2018. So the question is, what about 2020? That's a great question. The good news is 2020 had a relatively inert impact on Pera. It wasn't the worst case scenario by any means. The biggest impact from 2020 is that the state, due to a budget impact, did not make the direct contribution into Pera of $225 million. All things considered, that's not the end of the world. $225 million sounds like a lot of money to you and me. And if you had won the Powerball last week, that would have been life-changing money for an individual. But Pera is a fund that is now growing beyond $60 billion in total assets. So $225 million of $60 billion isn't an enormous amount of money. It's kind of like having $60 in your wallet and losing a quarter. That's kind of what the impact would be like if you're talking about how much money it is. And so while not ideal, it doesn't upend the plan to be fully funded in 30 years. There's another piece of Pera that was built into Senate Bill 200 that really puts Pera in a unique position. Pera has what's called an auto adjustment provision. If we fall behind, it could increase contributions from members by 0.5% a year, and it could decrease that annual increase by 0.25%. You know, it's not ideal, but I think for most people, the average Pera member, a 0.5% increase in contributions equates to somewhere between $20 and $30 a month. And so before I came to Pera, I was an independent financial advisor. And so I view this stuff maybe a little bit differently than some. And here's the question I would ask you. Go to your neighbors and ask them, if we could ensure the security of your retirement for an extra $25, $30, maybe $40 a month, would you sign up for it? And I can tell you, when I was a financial advisor, I would not have a single client who wouldn't take that deal. And so it does put us on pace to be fully funded and offers us a protection in case anything bad happens. Maria also asked about our investments, and I think that's a great question. Pera, and Matt will put some links in the chat for you to copy and paste, so you have these links for later. But Pera follows a pretty rigorous evaluation and process to make our investments. The board sets the guidelines for where and how, which sectors we will be invested in, and how much of the total portfolio will be invested there. And then our team of investment professionals go and make those investments. And so you can see it's pretty transparent in how we're invested. And the nice part about Pera's long-term security is those investment returns are really important. And Pera's been really good at investing their money. Over the last 35 years, Pera has averaged a return on investment after fees of 8.5%. That 8.5% average includes years like 2008. 2008, you saw the market lose 37% of its value, Pera lost 27% of its value. But that 27% loss is built into our year-over-year average of 8.5%. Pera has been very good at investing and is continually trying to take on less risk, getting as much return as possible. And so I think that that's an important question, Maria. If you look around, fewer and fewer retirements are promised, and we're going to talk about that in a little moment. I want to start tonight's webinar at our website. Raise your hand for me if you have ever been to our website or logged into our account. Raise your hand if you've ever been to our website. Can we raise hands? Oh, we're usually at our, oh, yep, there's some hands going up.
Yeah, you can use the reaction tool on the bottom.
Perfect.
Panel there, there's a reaction button.
So you can use the reaction tool. So a lot of hands are going up. The best thing you can do, oh, it doesn't look like I can lower hands. Matt, can you see if you can figure out how to lower hands? The best thing you can do to track your progress towards retirement is go to copera.org and log into your account. To log into your account, you go to this member retiree login. Go to register as a new user and set up your account. If you have any problems setting up your account, call customer service. Once you're logged in, you have access to our calculators. Uh-oh, looks like my internet may be having a few problems there. But once you log into your account, you can use our calculators and you can track your progress to retirement. Since it looks like Google's not going to work for me, I'm going to just jump on over to our PowerPoint. So for the rest of tonight's webinar, we're going to be in the PowerPoint. If you have any questions tonight about content, type your question into the chat and we'll do a question and answer session at the end as well. So type your questions into the chat. Matt will answer them or I will answer them live. Also make sure you're copying and pasting those links from Matt. So here we go. We're going to cover a lot tonight, but it does move really quickly. And I think everything that's up there is going to be stuff that you talked about. So we're going to first look at the difference between a defined benefit plan and a defined contribution plan. Basically, the difference between Pera and other retirement plans. Then we're going to look at how you calculate your benefit. And finally, we're going to look at some other additional benefits built into Pera that are either free to you or something you can participate in. So let's look at the difference of these two plans. So Maria said more and more retirement plans are less and less secure. And I think that's perfect. As a financial advisor, somebody who's been working in the retirement field for a long time, I can tell you there is an enormous amount of insecurity in retirement because most people have what's known as a defined contribution plan. You're probably familiar with the defined contribution plan, even if you didn't know that's the technical term. A defined contribution plan is a 401k type retirement plan. In the 401k type retirement plan, you put in a percentage of your salary, your employer may put in a percentage as well, and then everything from there on is on you. All of the risk is on the individual. In a defined contribution plan, you take your contributions, your employer's contributions, and you invest them. If the market goes up, you do well. If the market goes down, you are impacted by that. And if the market goes down at the wrong time, it could impact your ability to retire. It could impact your ability to stay retired. 2008, we saw this. We saw people on the news saying, I can't retire now. Sadder yet, we saw people who said, I have to go back to work. Those people had a defined contribution plan where all of retirement's risk was on the individual. Pera is not that. Pera is what's known as a defined benefit plan. Sometimes you hear it called a DB plan. Mostly what you need to know is it's a lifetime income plan. In Pera, when you retire, you're going to start drawing an income, and you're going to receive that income every month for the rest of your life. 2008, the people you didn't see on the news saying they had to go back to work were people in Pera, people who were getting that lifetime income. The market went down in 2008, but our people who were already retired continued to receive the income they were expecting prior to that market crash. People who were planning on retiring in 2008, 2009, and 2010 were able to retire on time with the income they expected. And that's because defined benefit plans are very different from defined benefit contribution plans. We're going to talk about your contributions in a moment, but in a defined benefit plan, that lifetime income plan, the risk is on the plan, not the individual. And the risk is shared by our 600,000 members, and it's shared over a very long period of time. In addition to that lifetime income, you have other benefits built into the plan to help you and protect you and your family during your working years and in retirement. So let's look at contributions. Does anyone here know how much of your paycheck goes to Pera? Type into the chat for me what percentage of your paycheck goes to Pera. Got a few answers coming in. Some good answers coming in. 8%, 10%. I like both of those answers. They both mean you've been paying attention. Historically, you were paying 8% of your salary into Pera, but you are currently paying 10% of your salary into Pera. That increased contribution is due to Senate Bill 200. You're paying 10% of your salary into Pera. And then on July 1st of 2020, you're actually going to be paying 10.5%. Your dollars always go to your personal account. Your contributions will always come back to you one way or another. Your employer is also making a very large contribution, more than double what you're paying. Your employer is paying over 20% of your salary into Pera, and your employer's dollars go to a divisional trust. And then in retirement, your dollars and your employer's dollars work together to pay your income. So Michael asked about the windfall elimination provision, and we will talk about Social Security a little bit later tonight. But no, Michael, it is highly unlikely that the windfall elimination provision will be removed anytime soon. There's not been any. Every year, there's usually some lawmaker who presents a law to remove it, but there's not been any serious discussion to eliminate it. So it is highly unlikely right now as it stands that windfall elimination provision will be replaced or removed. So let's look at how we calculate your benefit. You're paying a big chunk of your salary into Pera, but give me a thumbs up if you've gotten your Pera statement from year to year. And even though there's a lot of money in that account, sometimes people wonder if they can afford to retire on that amount. Well, the good news is we don't base your income in retirement on your Pera account balance. And that Pera account balance is only part of the story. Remember, your employer's dollars are set aside in that divisional trust, so you're going to draw from your employer's dollars too. But we don't base your retirement income on your personal account balance. Instead, we base it on 3 factors. Those 3 factors are your highest average salary, your service credit, and your age at retirement. Miranda asked if a 401k could be rolled into our Pera 401k, and it can, and we will talk about that in just a moment, Miranda. When we get to the 401k section, we will talk about rolling other money into that account. So Here we are with highest average salary. Those three factors we use to calculate your benefit are your age, service credit, and highest average salary. Highest average salary is maybe the most confusing of the three. For your highest average salary, we're going to find your highest income earning years throughout your Pera career and average them. And that's what we'll use to establish your highest average salary. Give me a thumbs up if you have worked for Pera for at least 6 years. Give me a thumbs up if you have been at a Pera covered employer for at least 6 years. If you've been at a Pera covered employer for at least 6 years, you have a 3-year highest average salary. So if you put your thumbs up, you have a 3-year highest average salary. Matt, who's with us today, has a 3-year highest average salary. He has a lot of service credit. I don't have a 3-year highest average salary. In order to qualify for a 3-year highest average salary, you had to have 5 years of service credit as of December 31st, 2019. Since I did not have 5 years of service credit as of December 31st, 2019, I have what's known as a 5-year highest average salary. So if you didn't have 5 years of service credit as of December 31st, 2019, then you have a 5-year highest average salary. Now let's talk about something that may be impacting your highest average salary. There are a few benefits that you pay for on a pre-tax basis that may be lowering your highest average salary, but this is simple to fix. You want to move from pre-tax to after-tax during your 4 or 6 highest income earning years. You want to move a few benefits. You want to move your health insurance premiums, your dental insurance premiums, your vision insurance premiums, and then if you're participating in one, your flex spending account. You want to move them from pre-tax to after-tax during your 4 or 6 highest income earning years. Now, this has different impacts on different people. If you're only covering yourself for your health insurance, then you may not have a huge impact on this. But if you're covering yourself and your spouse and your children, it may be impacting you guys. You want to move these things during open enrollment. So if you think you're in one of your 4 or 6 highest income earning years, then you want to move your health, dental, vision insurance, and flex spending account from pre-tax to after-tax. Now, notice what's not up there. There's a few things not up there because they have no impact on your highest average salary. Your 401k, 403b contributions, those have no impact on your highest average salary. So keep saving that extra money for retirement. Another thing that's not up there is a health savings account. If you have a health savings account, you have a high deductible health insurance policy, that will not impact your highest average salary. Neither will your union dues. So none of those things have any impact on your highest average salary. You don't have to worry about it. So keep contributing to those things. Krista just asked a great question. She asked, nope, if your 403b is with another company, it will have no impact on your highest average salary. So Matt just put a really good recap in there, so you can pay attention to that. If you're making 403b contributions through another company, no impact on your highest average salary. Krista said she logged into her account and she used to have a different name. Krista, if you're having problems with that, you can call customer service and they'll be able to find you. And then your employer is probably using your social security number, but you can contact Pera's customer service number and they'll be able to help you change your name. Matt's going to put customer service's phone number into the chat for you. So, highest average salary is one of the factors we use to calculate your benefit. The other two we use are your age and service credit. Age, really simple. Age, it's just how old you are when you start drawing a para benefit, how old you are when you retire. Your service credit is the amount of time you work for a para covered employer plus any time that you purchase. So we talk about service credit in years. People always say, I have 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, however many years in para. But when we calculate your benefit, we're actually calculating it to the month. We calculate service credit to 3 decimal points. So when you log into your account, it'll actually tell you how many months of service credit. You know, somebody has 327 months, however many months it is. So it's pretty an amazing benefit that it's calculating it to that degree. Also, you can earn full-time service credit while working part-time. Para calculates a full month of service credit every time you earn 80 times the federal minimum wage. So currently, you only need to make $580 in a month to earn a full month of service credit. This is a really nice part of para. There are some pensions out there that if you work part-time, you either get no service credit or part-time service credit. At para, you can still get full-time service credit while working part-time. Now, I had a great question from Lonnie. She says, does teaching summer school add to service credit more than just teaching in the school year? I love this question, Lonnie. I'm always looking for new ways to add to my para benefit. And the answer is you don't get extra service credit for working summer school. There's only 12 months in a year, so you can only get 12 months of service credit at any given year. But that doesn't mean working summer school doesn't help you. That summer school time actually increases your highest average salary. So working those extra duties does help you build a larger para benefit. And that's why it's important to remember, move those health, dental, vision insurance, and flex spending account from pre-tax to after-tax during your highest income earning years. Some people think you only want to do it during your last years, but here's what I see sometimes with people who work in education. When people are younger, they do a lot of extra responsibilities like working summer school or coaching. Matt was a teacher. He's a former teacher. He taught baseball, and so he got paid for that. And so that baseball time actually increased his highest average salary. So working summer school will increase your highest average salary, and that's a good thing. It's still helping you build a more secure retirement. But sometimes with teachers, as you get older, you don't want to do those extra responsibilities because it's a tough job. And so if you think you might be in your highest income earning years from, say, age 52 to 55, and then you're still going to work until you're 60, then you want to move your health, dental, and vision insurance from pre-tax to after-tax during those 52 to 55 years while you're still doing some of those extra responsibilities. You can increase your service credit by purchasing service credit. It's the one of the 3 factors you can increase by giving para extra money. We offer whole webinars on purchasing service credit. Matt's going to put a link in the chat to our other webinars so you can find that and attend that meeting. Let's talk about what purchasing means. Purchasing means you pay to apply your para benefit to a previous employment. So I started working in Iowa cornfields, detasseling corn when I was 11 years old. For some reason, I thought it would be a great idea. For some reason, Iowa let 11-year-olds work back in the 1980s. Crazy. So my Social Security statement has my income from when I was 11 years old. Now, that job did not have a retirement plan attached to it. So I could buy service credit for the time I worked in the Iowa cornfields and add that to my overall service credit. Now, is it a good idea? I will say purchasing service credit isn't a magic bullet to retirement planning. For some people, for the right person, it's great. For some people, it's not necessarily the best way to invest your retirement dollars. Think of it as an investment. Purchasing service credit will increase your monthly benefit from Pera, so you will get more money. And you can't outlive that money. It takes, most people use their 401k or 403bs to purchase service credit, so it does take money out of the market. And if you don't like being invested in the market, I actually lost some money today in the market. If you don't like that up and down movement, purchasing service credit does give you a very safe investment. But purchasing service credit does take a lot of money. And if you give that money to Pera, that's money you don't have set aside for an emergency fund. And having an emergency fund in retirement's valuable. You know, maybe you need a new roof sometime, and not having that emergency money means you have to take out a loan to pay for that new roof. The other thing is, giving Pera that money means it may not be there to leave to your children. So if you wanted to leave an estate to your kids, and when I say estate, don't think Rockefellers, Kennedys, think whatever you're able to leave. You know, if it's your goal to leave some money to your children, purchasing service credit will give you more money in retirement. But, and we're going to look at how Pera does pay out in retirement in just a moment, that money may not be available to your children. I just got a question. Oh, so Maria asked, what if I don't work in the summer? If I'm not clocking in, am I still getting service credit? And yes, we do give people who work for school districts 12 months of service credit, even if you may only be working 9 months. So you are still getting a full year of service credit. What we do is we take that salary that you were receiving during those 9 months and we stretch it out over 12 months. So it doesn't necessarily give you a larger benefit all the time, but it does give you a full year of service credit even if you aren't working. So our Pera calculators are the best tools you can use to track your retirement. So log in and start using them. As you get closer and closer to retirement, it's more and more important to understand a dollar amount you're going to get from Pera. So use that Pera monthly retirement benefit calculator to see what dollar amount you're going to get from Pera. Now, when you get to retirement, you have 3 options on how to take your benefit. These 3 options are probably the most important decision you're going to make as you get close to retirement. We're not too creative at Pera, so the options are called option 1, 2, and 3. But let's talk about what these mean. With option 1, you get an income for the rest of your life. It's the largest benefit you can get from Pera. But when you die, no one else receives a monthly income. That monthly income dies with you. And so if you have somebody counting on this Pera income as much as you are, you want to consider option 2 or option 3. With option 2 and option 3, you have what's called a co-beneficiary. A co-beneficiary is the one and only one person you choose who will receive a lifetime income if you die before they do. Your co-beneficiary can be any person you want. It could be a spouse, child, grandchild, neighbor, friend, any person you want. It does have to be a person, and it can only be one person. With option 2, your co-beneficiary would get 50% of your Pera income for the rest of their life if you died before they did. With option 3, you get an income the rest of your life, and now your co-beneficiary gets 100% of your Pera benefit if you died before they did. Now, when I look at this screen, I like to think of the options as a ladder. At the top of that ladder is option 1. It's paying you the most money available to you from Pera. Each step down the ladder, you're taking a little bit less income to promise a little bit more to someone you care about. So if you go from option 1 to option 2, you're taking a little bit of a reduction. From option 2 to option 3, you're taking a little bit more of a reduction. Your next question is a perfectly reasonable one, and I don't have a great answer. Your question is, what is that reduction? Well, that reduction is based on your age and the age of your co-beneficiary. And we can't put that in a table nicely because there are just too many variables. You know, we'd have to make a table with anybody from age 1 up to 100, and it just doesn't fit cleanly on a piece of paper. But you can know what your option 1, option 2, and option 3 benefit are today. To find out what your option 1, option 2, and option 3 benefit are, log into your copera.org account and use the Pera monthly retirement benefit calculator. Give me a thumbs up if you're within maybe 2 or 3 or 4 years of retirement. Give me a thumbs up if you're that close to retirement. There's a few thumbs going up. If you're that close to retirement, it's time to call customer service and request a benefit estimate. We will then audit your account and we will send you an estimate of what your option 1, 2, and 3 benefit might be when you retire. Call and get that estimate. You need to know a dollar amount so you can do your retirement planning. Now, I want you to type in the chat for me. If you were retiring today, would you take option 1, 2, or 3? And if you're taking option 2 or 3, type who you would select as your co-beneficiary. So I've got some option 1s, bunch of option 1s coming in. Some option 2s, option 2 or 3 spouse, option 3 child, really generous, option 2 child. So what I love about Pera is it's really customizable based on your needs. So if you need an option 1, option 2, or option 3 benefit, you can make that out of your retirement. And then I liked Rachel's comment, leaving hubby on their own. Well, I can understand that approach too, Rachel. So you really can build the retirement you need out of Pera. Now we're going to look at this Pera table. I want to talk about this table. Raise your thumbs, give me a thumbs up if you've ever seen a Pera table. The Pera tables have all 3 of our factors on it. Across the top is your age at retirement. Down the left-hand side is your service credit. If you follow these in towards the middle, when they intersect as a numbered box, that means you're eligible to retire. So this person would be eligible to retire at age 55 with 20 years of service credit. They'd get a little bit over 40% of their highest average salary. The number in those boxes is the percentage of your highest average salary you're going to get for the rest of your life. Now, notice this person retiring at age 55 with 20 years of service credit lands in a green or shaded box. That means they are in early retirement. If you choose to retire in early retirement, you're taking a reduced amount because you're retiring early. The best thing you can probably do is work until you at least hit a white box. The white box means you're in full service retirement. You're getting the largest benefit available to you from Pera by waiting until you're in the white box. No longer a reduction like early retirement. So this person first hits the white box at age 58 with 23 years of service credit. Now, people ask me all the time, when can I retire? And this person can retire. The question I wish people would ask me is, when should I retire? You should retire when you can afford to retire. Build your retirement around your financial needs, not your wants. Now, if I were looking at this table, and I do look at a table that looks pretty similar to this in my retirement planning, I would say there's no way I can afford to retire on 57.5% of my highest average salary. I couldn't do it. You know, divide your salary in half. Can you pay your bills on that? I can't. So I would keep working. I would keep working until I got down here at 30 years of service credit at age 65. At age 65 with 30 years of service credit, I'd get 75% of my highest average salary. That would put me in a much more stable position throughout my retirement. So build your retirement around your financial needs. Get that Pera estimate. Make sure you understand what you're going to get in retirement. Notice Matt put a link to the tables. Again, if you're getting close to retirement, you need to know a dollar amount. Now, notice this table starts at year 5. So people often ask me, do you need 5 years of service credit to be vested? If you've ever heard that word vested, vested means you have to work a period of time to qualify for a benefit. And here's the best part about Pera. There is no vesting schedule to earn a lifetime retirement income. If you have fewer than 5 years of service credit, you are still eligible for a lifetime income at age 65. You earned a lifetime income on your first day of work. We use a little bit different calculation to get your retirement benefits at age 65. We don't use a table calculation if you have fewer than 5 years of service credit, but there's no vesting schedule to a lifetime income. Pretty cool. So let me get my mouse back here. So the next thing you want to be aware of is when you get to retirement, you have another choice to make, but this one's much easier. You have to choose between taking a lifetime income or a refund. We've been talking about that lifetime income from Pera so far. You have control of your money. If you get to retirement and tell Pera you want a lump sum payment, we will refund your account. We'll give you a one-time payment that includes all of your Pera contributions, plus interest, plus any match that you qualify for. But here's the thing. The reality is the vast majority of us, 99 and 100, will do better by taking a monthly lifetime income over refunding our accounts. And if you leave your employment prior to employment or retirement, you have the same choice. You can leave your money at Pera, start drawing a benefit when you become retirement eligible, or taking a refund. Same thing there. You're probably going to do much better by taking a lifetime income when you're eligible for retirement versus a refund. So now we're going to look at some built-in benefits, and we're going to go pretty quickly. First is a survivor benefit. You have a survivor benefit while you work at Pera. So if you die, your children will receive an income until they finish high school or college, and then your spouse will begin receiving a lifetime income when they're eligible. So your dollars are going to go back to your family. You're actually going to get much more. Your family will get much, much more out of Pera because of the survivor benefit. Matt's putting a link to a little more information about our survivor benefit. So make sure you pay attention to that, copy and paste it for later. You also have a disability benefit at Pera. So while you work at Pera, you have a disability protection. It's in addition to anything you have from your employer, but if necessary, it could pay you an income the rest of your life. We've already talked about that annual increase a little bit. In retirement, you do start receiving pay raises. Just understand that our annual increase is a pay increase, but it is not necessarily a cost of living adjustment. So over time, inflation may have an impact on your spending power. So we're going to look at some of the voluntary programs next. The first is the 401k and 457. Pera offers a 401k. This is an extra savings plan to help you have more money in retirement. This is maybe the most important slide in some senses in this entire presentation. Anything extra you can save is going to help you in retirement. So make sure you set up that 401k. If you're in a position to start saving $10 or $20 a month now, start there. If you're in a position to save money or save more, start there. Anything extra you save is going to help you out. Matt's going to put some additional information into the chat for you. You can roll previous retirement accounts, your previous 401ks or IRAs, into the Pera 401k if you like. You do have a life insurance option with Pera. This is in addition to anything you have through your employer. If you sign up for our life insurance policy prior to retirement, you can keep it in retirement. Just understand that the death benefit does go down as you get older. We're going to look at some after retirement stuff. The first is Social Security. Now, here is the good news. If you have earned a Social Security benefit, meaning you worked 10 years at a Social Security covered job, then you qualify for a Social Security payment. But your Social Security payment may be reduced because during your time at Pera, you weren't paying into Social Security. You weren't subject to that Social Security tax. People love paying less in taxes, but sometimes that means there's an impact on you. And since we don't pay that Social Security tax, it means we may be subject to a reduction from our Social Security benefit when we get to retirement. Now, here is a little trick you can do. If you wish you could pay into Social Security, I suggest you save that money in your 401k. Pay yourself. It would cost you an additional 6 or 7% in taxes to participate in Social Security. So you can pay that 6 to 7% to yourself in your 401k. And the beauty of that is nobody can ever take it away. Nobody can touch it. It's all your money. So if you wish you were paying that Social Security tax, pay yourself. Put 6 to 7% of your salary into your 401k. In retirement, you do have a Pera Care health insurance option. We do webinars on our Pera Care plans. Matt's going to put a link to our other webinars. We also have a YouTube channel where we talk about these in more depth. So just Google Co-Pera YouTube, and you'll find our YouTube channel. You can watch videos on a lot of the things we talked about today. Our Pera Care plans are a pre-Medicare policy, so for everyone under age 65, and Medicare policies for everyone age 65 and over. You do receive a subsidy to help offset the premiums. Your spouse and children under age 26 can also go on Pera Care. Now, here's the thing. Our pre-Medicare policy is kind of expensive, and it can go up in price from year to year. So if you choose to retire under age 65, make sure you look at your budget pretty carefully. Make sure you understand that pre-Medicare health insurance policy does go up by $30, $40, $50, even $70 a month sometimes. So make sure when you're looking at your retirement budget, if you're retiring under age 65, make sure you could afford Pera Care if it goes up by $70 a year. Once you get to Medicare age, Medicare's working in the background. You're not subject to the same level of price increases. So once you turn 65, you don't have to worry about that at the same degree. So next steps are simple, really simple. Log into your Pera account. Set up your account at copera.org. Start saving money in your 401k. Start saving extra money for retirement. And then finally, if you think you're in your highest income earning years, move those health, dental, vision insurance, and flex spending account from pre-tax to after-tax. Thank you for joining us tonight. We went a little bit longer than I normally do. I spent a lot of time talking about Pera's long-term health. I think it's such an important subject, but make sure you take our survey. Help us understand how we can improve these webinars. Now, I didn't forget about the person who said who asked about what if I move out of state? And the answer is you keep on going. You can receive your Pera benefit if you live out of state, and you can sign up for a ParaCare health insurance policy. So if you live in another state, you can sign up for a ParaCare health insurance policy and have our Anthem plans. And so yes, a 401a is generally a pension. Okay, so if you have a 401a, that's generally a pension similar to Pera. So call whoever that is and talk to them about what that benefit might be. 401as are usually pensions. If you meant to type 401k, you can definitely roll a 401k in, and you can roll that 401a into Pera. Just make sure you understand what the implications are. You want to be careful surrendering pensions and taking that refund. So if it is a 401a, call whoever has that money and ask what your income would be at retirement if you can roll it over and understand some of those things. So Geneva asked, do you pay, and I saw some of the other questions, I will get back to them too. Do you pay the income tax in the other state? And the answer is yes. So if I'm from Nebraska and Iowa, that's where I grew up, those two states. If I moved back to Nebraska, where most of my family is, I would be subject to Nebraska's state tax in retirement. The one downside is Pera can't withhold state taxes for states other than Colorado. So if I moved to Nebraska, Pera couldn't withhold that Nebraska income tax. I would have to take it on myself to either set up quarterly payments or know I'm going to owe something on tax day. So if you live outside of Colorado, just make sure you do know that. Now, somebody asked, what's the difference between the Pera 401k and your 403b? Well, I don't know a lot about your 403b, so let me talk about Pera. The first thing I'll say is Pera's fees are extremely low, and I think they're lower than your 403b. Last time I looked at last year when I was at the fair and I was looking at your 403b options. And so I think I'm 99% sure our fees are going to be lower than that 403b. The fees aren't the only important thing in retirement planning. If you're working with a financial advisor with that 403b and you like them, keep going. If you're not working with someone there and you want to have lower fees, then jump over to Pera and start saving money with us. Here's the thing. I don't know if it's necessarily really important for you to find the funds that are going to give you the most money as much as it's really important that you save extra money. And if you're in your 403b and you like it, keep going. Seriously, we don't care if you invest extra money with us or your 403b. We just care that you're saving something extra towards retirement. We know how important it is. We know how valuable that is. And so if you like saving with your 403b, then keep going. If you want to see if the funds are lower cost here or the investment options are better or easier, you can certainly do that. And we do think that there are some advantages to investing with Pera. The fees are lower and they're really good funds. We either self-selected or created the funds, and they do very well compared to benchmarks. So they're really simple to invest with. So that might be some of the advantages. But the most important thing on that question is to make sure you're saving extra money. If you have any more questions, type them into the chat. We'll make sure to answer any and all questions that you have.
Hey, Giles.
Yeah.
Just wanted to tell people how they can save the chat. If you missed any of the links or any of the answers to the questions, you can actually save the chat by right next to the type message here field. There are 3 dots. And if you click on that, there's an option to save the chat, and you can save it to your computer so that you can get those links later. That's
really helpful. I actually didn't know that. Guess we all learned something. every day. I don't see any more questions coming in. If you have any questions, raise your hand. We won't end the webinar until they've all been answered. If you're trying to type in a question,